I welcome you all into this carving tutorial of permanent maxillary first molar. So, post various videos in which we have made various tooth, we have learned how to make the COCs and how to do the buccal, lingual, mesial and the distal aspects. So here our primary focus will be on the occlusal aspect, which is the most difficult. So starting on the occlusal aspect, we are marking off the area which needs to be removed on the buccal and the lingual aspect. So on the buccal aspect, you will see that the COC is almost at the occlusal surface. It is a very the buccal surface appears to be very straight, whereas the lingual surface is having a COC on the middle of the middle third. Coming on to the mesial and the distal aspect, the mesial aspect is having COC on the junction of the middle and the occlusal third, whereas for the distal it is in the middle of the middle third. So keeping these in mind, you need to remove the excess amount of wax initially. Now we are creating an outline of the occlusal surface. The occlusal surface would look rhomboidal in shape. We are rounding off the line angles and creating the rhomboid shape. Just remember how we are making this rhomboid. On the rhomboid, there are two blunt corners and there are two sharp corners. So the sharp corners would be pointing towards the directions of the distolingual and the mesiobuccal corner, whereas the blunt ones, as you can see here, the blunt ones would be pointing towards the mesiolingual and the distobuccal aspect. As you can see very clearly how we are creating the conica, how we are creating the sharp edge and how we are creating the blunt ones. So this one which sir is preparing is the blunt edge, and on the left is the sharp. Now it has gone towards the right. Again here the left one is the sharp and the right one is the blunt. Hope you can appreciate it very well now. Now we'll start with the occlusal aspect. Remember two rules here. The mesial side of the occlusal aspect would be more than the distal. So you have to take more area for the mesial aspect. And similarly, the lingual side would be having an area more than the buccal aspect. Post that, another thing that you need to remember is the order of the cusp size. So the mesiolingual is the greatest of the cusp which sir is carving right now. Post that, the mesiobuccal cusp is the second largest, then is the distolingual, and distobuccal is the smallest cusp here. So post the mesiolingual, we are creating the distobuccal cusp. Why we are creating distobuccal next? Because there is an oblique ridge which exists between the mesiolingual and the distobuccal cusp. As you can see here, we are creating a sort of continuity between the two cusps. So how is this oblique ridge made? It is the union of the triangular ridge of the distobuccal cusp and the distal ridge of the mesiolingual cusp. Hope that makes it clear, as you can see in the demonstration. As you can see, sir is creating a developmental depression on the lingual aspect, and it is extending almost towards the middle of the middle third. Post that, we are creating the distolingual cusp, as you can see, also creating space for the triangular fossa there, which is very small in case of molar. On the buccal aspect too, we have created a developmental depression. See, the buccal developmental groove, it terminates more apically in comparison to the lingual one, so it would be longer. It is almost at the mid of the buccal surface, and the lingual one is not straight, it rather curves distally. So keep this in mind. The more pronounced one is the buccal developmental groove. So post creating that, we are creating the buccal, and after creating the occlusal surface, we are kind of giving the finishing. We are rounding off the crown so that we can get the perfect rhomboid shape along with all the COCs intact. Remember here that the distal marginal ridge would be lower than the mesial marginal ridge, and also your mesial marginal ridge would be at 1/5 of the total dimension of the tooth. Let's say your tooth is approximately, for example, it is of 30 mm, let's say. So 1/5 of 30 mm, your MMR would be of that depth. So the total dimension which I am talking about is from the cervical line to the tip of the cusp. So 1/5 of it would be the depth of the mesial marginal ridge. Post that, also remember that the intercuspal distance occlusally would be more than just half of the buccolingual dimension. Let's say that buccolingual dimension is 10 mm. So your intercuspal distance would be around 6 mm. So keep this in mind. It will help you in understanding how much taper you need to provide to the buccal and the lingual aspect. So as you can see now, sir is creating what is known as the cusp of Carabelli. So various institutions of our country, they teach us, they expect different kind of cusp of Carabelli here for the maxillary first molar. Some may just require a notch, some may require a very prominent cusp being made. So as per the demo which might have been provided to you from college, you can definitely get to know how to make cusp of Carabelli. But what sir is showing here is the ideal way of creating cusp of Carabelli. This cusp of Carabelli is situated lingually on the mesiolingual cusp, that is 2 mm below the tip of the mesiolingual cusp. As you can see now from all the aspects how the crown looks. Post that, we will start with the root, which is very important in case of maxillary first molar, as it is a trifurcated tooth. So we'll start by marking off the root area, and then as we do in all the teeth, we create a pole along the contours of the crown. We'll remove the excess wax and create a pole of wax just below the crown, following the contours of the crown. We are grossly providing a finish so that we can start by forming the root. So see, what we are doing here is making out the area where we need to remove the wax. This triangle would guide us in removing excess amount of wax through that triangle and creating the trifurcation. So what we marked there was a triangle on the buccal aspect. Now we are creating the palatal root. Notice how we are creating it. On the mesial and the distal aspect, we are creating this oblique line, sort of oblique line, and lingual portion of this oblique lingual portion, that is lingual to this oblique line, is being carved out. See, the palatal root is the largest root of maxillary first molar. The distobuccal and the mesiobuccal roots are almost similar in dimension. So we always first create the palatal root. Post that, you can see sir is creating a triangular depression on the mesial and the distal aspect. So we'll continuously literally dig through these triangular fossas till the time they join together. That is the triangular fossa on the mesial, on the distal and on the buccal aspect. We will dig them and try joining them together. So as we will do this exercise, we'll end up getting three roots separated from each other and the trifurcated root of maxillary molar, which is evident naturally. Now, rounding off the line angles and converging or tapering the root apex towards the midline. And also at the very same time, we are giving a more finished look to the furcation that we have given, to the separation that we have given. The very triangular shape which is required, we are providing that, so that a more naturally appealing contours of the tooth are established. So with the course of this carving, I would also like to add on a point in the occlusal aspect, that there are in total 6 developmental grooves that are present on the occlusal aspect. The central developmental groove, the buccal developmental groove, distal oblique groove, lingual developmental groove, transverse groove that crosses the oblique ridge, and the fifth cusp groove. So keep these in mind. And there are three pits also, that are the central pit, mesial pit and the distal pit. Where they are located, how do they appear, you can always check out Wheelers for that. Now we are kind of providing the complete finishing to the root area, and at the very same time you can also see some kind of concavity is being made at the junction of the root and the crown. That is very important. That helps in demarcating the crown very well from the root. Notice the finishing of the triangular fossa that has been provided. creating the cervical line. Obviously, in various tooth carving sessions, we have seen how cervical line is made, and there are dimensions given in Wheeler's too. So here we are not significantly focusing on making the cervical line, as you already know that, and how it is being made. You can always follow Wheeler's the dimensions table, which is given for each and every tooth. There the cervical line contours are also visible. You can refer to them and create this beautiful cervical line. Post that, we are providing finishing to the entire tooth in toto. Giving it a polishing so that we can finally see whether the contours are established or not. As you can see this tooth from various aspects. Now sir will lower down the brightness so that you can appreciate the occlusal view, the buccal, mesial, lingual, and the distal view, as is evident in this carving. Hope this was helpful, and thank you.